parliamentarians, honored guests, friends, we gather today at a pivotal point in history. This is a time of incredible uncertainty. Attacks upon the rules-based international order threaten to upend the peace and prosperity that have been the bedrock of Canada's success. This is a challenge on a generational scale, a challenge that history will judge us on, a challenge we must confront with lion-hearted courage, and the world can find no better inspiration than our friend here with us in our house today, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and his wife, the First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska. One year, 6 months, and 29 days ago, Vladimir Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, unleashing a campaign of violence and brutality that has left countless dead and forced millions to flee. But for 1 year, 6 months, and 29 days, the people of Ukraine have defended their homes, their language, and their freedom to choose their own future. They have fought back with a courage that has inspired the world, and they have been led by President Zelenskyy, a great champion of democracy. Monsieur le Président Zelenskyy,
President Zelenskyy, in March of last year, you addressed our Parliament virtually. In June of this year, I addressed your Parliament in Kyiv, the Verkhovna Rada, where I was touched to see so many Canadian flags in the chamber. Today, you are able to be here in person to speak about the fight for your democracy and your freedom. And you do it to remind us that in your country, Russia continues its assault, and Ukrainians are sacrificing their lives.
Monsieur le Président Zelenskyy,
President Zelenskyy, we speak regularly. We've spoken about what is happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station and the environmental destruction caused by Russia's tactics. We've spoken of the human toll, children kidnapped, and people who are being taught to hate.
I've seen Putin's destructive evil firsthand during my visits to Ukraine since the war began. I saw it in the bombed-out neighborhoods, in the bridges reduced to twisted steel, in the abandoned homes. I also saw it in the faces of your citizens. They walked down the street, sat in cafes, daily life seemingly persisting, but with everyone I spoke to, I saw in the backs of their eyes the weight of this war, the fear for their fellow Ukrainians on the front lines, the anxiety that another air raid siren would go off at any moment, the loss of a loved one. The toll of this war on the mental health and well-being of Ukrainians is immeasurable. I know, First Lady Zelenska, you are dedicated to the work to address this. So today we are providing funding to support mental health care in Ukraine as we continue to applaud your tremendous leadership in these difficult times. When rules-based orders crumble, so much is lost. One example of how this breakdown manifests is the horrifying, preventable hardship as Russia blocks grain exports, worsening hunger and starvation among the world's most vulnerable people. President Zelenskyy, you and the Ukrainian people are holding the rules-based order in the balance. You are on the front lines, not just of the fight for Ukraine, but in the fight for the kind of future we are all going to be living in.
Rules matter. Following the Second World War, The bloodiest and deadliest conflict humanity has ever known, the whole world's nations agreed on a common set of rules and principles to reestablish peace. For 3/4 of a century, these rules have allowed historic prosperity. They have fostered trade, given citizens the necessary confidence to invest in their future, and helped millions of people escape poverty. There isn't a single place that hasn't known prosperity thanks to peace.
But what Putin has done is a break with civilization. It is a violation of our common humanity. It is an attempt to disassemble the rules-based order that protects our freedom. It is a move to weaken democracy and assert autocracy. Putin governs with deception, violence, and repression. He imprisons his own people and stirs up ugly sentiments of xenophobia and racism. But his imperial delusions in Ukraine have been met with a fierce defense, a defense that is not just strong because of the support from friends around the world, but because those who fight for their freedom will always fight with their whole hearts. C'est pourquoi
that is why we must all fight by all possible means. We must speak out loud and clear against violations of national sovereignty and affronts to international law. Violations to the rules-based international order must be denounced, and aggressors must be held responsible for their actions. That has always been our government's position. That is why, without exception, we oppose authoritarian states, and we stand by those who defend international law, universal human rights, and the ability of all peoples to decide on their own future. That is why we remained faithful to our principles when Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor were arbitrarily detained by China.
There are countries that are bending or breaking the rules, political forces that are pandering to demagoguery. And we are all experiencing a rise of disinformation, some state-sponsored, some politically motivated, that twists facts and refuses evidence and science. In this era of uncertainty and of resurgent great power competition, rules are what will protect us. And it's not enough for them to just be written down somewhere. We must advocate for them, stand up for them, and live by them. History will judge us on how we defend democratic values. And Ukraine is at the tip of the spear in this great challenge of the 21st century. That's why Canada and Canadians are there for Ukraine, and why we stand so unequivocally against Russia. It's why people across Canada have welcomed with open arms over 175,000 Ukrainians, some of whom are here with us today. There are those here who've come from Bucha and Kharkiv. They are part of a group of Ukrainian scientists who found safety in Canada, and their expertise in the clean economy is helping the world unwind its dependence on the fossil fuels weaponized by despots like Putin. We also have leaders from the Ukrainian-Canadian community like Orysia and others. They come from the Canadian prairies, where so many Ukrainian immigrants have settled for over a century, and they have led the charge in helping their communities welcome refugees fleeing Putin's bombs, everything from collecting clothing donations to helping them find homes. We're also joined by Agnes and Susan, who lost their brother Anthony, a humanitarian volunteer, just 12 days ago. He was killed in a Russian strike while trying to help civilians in Donetsk Oblast, innocent people who are being brutalized by the Kremlin's unprovoked aggression. Today, our gallery is filled with Ukrainians who've come to show their support and gratitude for you, Volodymyr, but I think we all need to take a moment to thank them for their bravery, their generosity, and their solidarity with the values of democracy.